Yesterday, the basic matter is taken down from your mouth at the end of March 44. You promised the Jews that they would not be deported, no harm would befall them, and that after the war, their life will return as normal and as before the war. This whilst you knew that it was your assignment to deport all Jews to Auschwitz. Does that not mean misleading?
Ich wusste jene Zeit nicht, dass sie nach Auschwitz abtransportiert werden, das hatte ich schon gesagt. Ich wusste aber, dass sie deportiert werden und hatte zu dieser Erklärung...
I did not know at the time that they were being taken to Auschwitz, and when I spoke to them,
You told them quite the contrary, that they would not be deported to Auschwitz.
Jawohl, dazu hatte ich den Befehl.
Jawohl, I did, but this I had orders to do. Mr. Hausner, and you are the person who says that he never uttered a false word.
Hier hatte ich nicht selbst zu entscheiden, sondern stand unter dem Zwang und unter dem Druck der Befehlsgebung meiner Vorgesetzten.
I did not have to decide on this matter myself. I was forced and pressed by my superiors. Mr. Hausner, you will agree with me that this characteristic which you adopt and which you told Zassen, I am reading out to you 3 lines on page 78, that this is correct.
Und so haben die Juden an sich schon recht. Wahrheitsgemäß, man hat einen Jesuiten hereingesetzt, der unermüdlich war, der stets seine Feuer dort spielen ließ, wo auch in etwa einen Widerstand verspürte.
Der stets was? Der stets seine?
Den stets seine Feuer dort spielen ließ, wo auch nur in etwa einen Widerstand verspürte. וכאן הקטע הנוסף שכבר דיברנו עליו, ich war kein normaler Befehlsempfänger, dann wäre ich ein Trottel gewesen, sondern ich habe mitgedacht, ich war ein Idealist gewesen. תסתכל. תסכים איתי שזאת היא חרקטריסטיקה נכונה.
Look at this, and you will agree with me that this is a correct appreciation. The quotation read out in the German by the Attorney General.
Bitte die Seite, die ich hier bekommen habe, da finde ich das nicht drauf.
Accused, I cannot find it on the page mentioned.
Ah, hier, ist die Seite umgekehrt.
The last line.
Jawohl.
Ken.
Accused, yes.
Dass ich ein Idealist gewesen bin, das gebe ich zu. Aber dass die anderen Angelegenheiten hier wortwörtlich stimmen, das kann ich nicht zugeben, weil ich das nicht weiß. ob das richtig ist oder ob das nicht richtig ist. Aber dass ich ein Idealist gewesen bin, dass ich den Befehlen gehorsam war und den Befehlen nachgekommen bin, das habe ich ja auch hier erklärt. Das muss ich bekennen.
איפה מסומנים העמודים?
48 למטה.
כן, אבל המספר אינו...
Und so haben die Juden an sich schon recht. כתוב למטה
And now
בשורה
for the
שלפני האחרונה בעמוד
quotation
40.
read by Mr. Hausner to the accused.
וכך בעצם
And
צודקים
so
היהודים בהתאם
The
לאמת.
Jews are right.
הושיבו שם בין הכת הישועית
They were put amongst the Jesuit sect,
פעל ללא חת, אשר הבעיר תמיד
was a fearless community,
שרק סבר כי הבחין בהתנגדות.
and always
unermüdlich war.
took drastic steps when they smelt resistance.
לא הייתי מקבל פקודות
The
רגיל.
second quotation, I was not an ordinary receiver of orders.
כי אחרת
Otherwise, I would have been a
אלא
fool.
אני השתתפתי
I
בחשיבה.
took
הייתי
part
אידיאליסט,
in the thinking itself. I was an idealist.
כי הייתי דברי הנאשם.
The accused. Of course I was an idealist and I confess it readily, but I do not know whether the other statement is correct. This I cannot tell you now, because I do not know whether the rest of the statement tallies with reality. At any rate, I have to put it on record that I was an idealist. I'd already admitted it, and I'm ready to admit it once more.
אתה סיפרת כאן
You
בבית
told
המשפט
the court
שאתה מבקש כי תינתן לך הזדמנות
that you
לכתוב
ask
ספר
to be given an opportunity
לשמו
to write a book where you would call a spade, and retell what was done to the Jews, describe it as one of the atrocious crimes committed by humanity.
Jawohl, das habe ich erklärt.
Yes, this is what I've stated.
You will agree with me that the book you planned to publish with Zassin in the year 57 in the Argentine, or the book you wrote when Heydrich was alive on the same subject, would not have given expression to this thought of yours.
Nein, die hätten diesen Gedanken nicht zum Ausdruck gebracht. Aus mehreren Gründen.
Yes, they wouldn't have given expression to this trend of thought. For the following reasons.
This is enough. This will do. They would express the opinion that the actions against Jews were necessary in order to protect the German nation and the German blood. Correct?
Nein, wenn es nach mir gegangen wäre, wäre es eine klare, nackte, sachliche Feststellung geworden. Ohne eigenes Kommentar.
If the book had been written then, if it would have come to fruition, I would have simply given a sober and clear statement of facts. It would be a factual statement without personal commentaries.
You
will agree with me that they would depict the following: our duty towards our people and towards our blood
hätten wir den schlauesten Geist der heute lebenden Menschheit vernichtet.
Kann ich das bitte nachlesen?
Ja, Sie können sich anschauen.
אחר משימתנו למען דמנו, למען עמנו,
our task for our people, for
and for the freedom
freedom.
of all nations.
היינו מקיימים
This would have been fulfilled had we exterminated the most cunning spirit existing amongst human beings today.
Unsere Aufgabe, nur diese Zeilen da.
Our task, only these lines, our assignment, task.
Ob diese Worte von mir sind, weiß ich nicht. Da bitte ich darum, dass man mir das Tonband vorlegt.
אם
Denn ich
I do
glaube
not
nicht, dass
know.
ich das in dieser Schärfe gesagt habe, dass das in dieser Schärfe von mir stammt. Das halte ich für undenkbar. Das halte ich schon deswegen für undenkbar, weil wenn man, ich habe jetzt in den letzten Tagen einen kleinen Querschnitt mir besorgt aus diesen Büchern, wenn man nämlich diese Bücher liest, dann ist der Eindruck ein völlig anderer, als wie wenn hier irgendwie ein Satz herausgezogen wird aus dem Ganzen. Ich weiß ja gar nicht, von wem der Satz stammt.
My question is, was this the spirit of your words?
אם יצאו מילים אלו
If
מפי,
these words have flown out of my mouth, I really do not know. At any rate, I should like to ask in this connection to submit the relevant tape, because I don't think I'd express myself so sharply. It is inconceivable and incredible that I'd spoken this way.
אני ראיתי כאן בעת האחרונה,
Recently, for example, I have perused a number of books, and if these books are read, the picture is completely distorted,
כי הדברים האלה לא
and the impression is quite clear that these words couldn't have been spoken by me. I don't know who had actually uttered them.
Judge Halevi, if all this is taken together,
עכשיו ענה על השאלה הזאת, האם זאת היא רוח
President,
וזאת הייתה.
האם זאת היא רוח הדברים, אם גם לא
answer the
הביטוי
question,
המילולי כפי
is
שאתה
this
אומר.
the spirit of your words, if not the exact words, if not a literal transcription of them?
Nein, auch Sinn und Geist ist hier überspitzt. Man müsste dazu wissen, wieso es überhaupt zu diesen Angelegenheiten gekommen ist, dann würde man die Sache schon besser verstehen.
אתה רוצה שאגיש את כל הכרכים לבית המשפט?
You want
אני
me
מוכן
to
לעשות את זה.
submit to court all the
אתה מבקש
volumes? Is this what you wish?
Nein, ich habe sie selbst noch gar nicht mal durchgelesen, diese Bände, aber ich sage so viel, dass ich mich dazu nicht bekenne zu diesen Sachen und nicht bekennen kann, weil ich keine Kontrollmöglichkeit habe, ob das auch stimmt.
Ja.
Ich bin der Letzte, der irgendwie sich vor einer Sache, die er gesprochen oder geschrieben hat, drücken würde. Ich glaube, es hinlänglich bewiesen zu haben, auch vor diesem Gerichtshof. Aber ich kann doch nicht zugeben, etwas, was hier vor Jahr und Tag geschrieben wurde, ob das meinem, und ich nicht einmal den Beweis habe, ob das meinem Mund und meinem Denken entsprochen hat. Meinem Denken und meinem Wunsch und meinem Wollen entsprach eine nüchterne, klare Niederlegung. Aber die war offenbar in Buchform nicht erwünscht gewesen, weil sie ein zu stures Amtsdeutsch gehabt hätte und nicht gelesen worden wäre.
לא
No, even this was not the spirit of the things I said. It had been lost in the morass of all the words that had been attached. Only on the basis of the entire work one could understand that particular passage. No, I hadn't read those volumes by myself, but I cannot possibly corroborate that particular statement if I have no possibility of checking up on it at all. I'm certainly the last.
Correction by President of Court to the interpreter.
The consecutive interpreter is correcting his translation. As I had no possibility to check up on whether these things had flown out of my mouth or not. I'm certainly the last one who would deny things. I suppose that I had given full proof to the fact that I'm ready to admit things which should be admitted, and I was not trying at all in any way to extricate myself from any responsibility for things which could be clearly stated.
אם זה יצא מפי והלם את חשיבתי, את כוונתי ורצוני,
and my intention had always been to give a clear and sober statement of
to which the accused did not deny and admitted that things to that effect, or that the spirit was correct, or such things, but not the same words, so that the court may be convinced that all these passages and quotations contain in themselves corrections in the handwriting of the accused, examined, and also adopted by the accused himself. And if there was any doubt in the heart of the court whether to accept these quotations before the accused took the stand, maybe that this means forcing the accused to testify or bringing rebutting evidence, then the accused himself chose to testify under oath. He confirmed the exactness of most of the passages, and it is our argument that these passages are of extreme importance. President of Court, in order to understand your request, there may be passages where there are no corrections and the accused admitted that they were more or less correct. You mentioned quotations where corrections were made. Mr. Hausner, yes, I mentioned passages where there are corrections in themselves or where there are corrections in lines before and after the passage. That comes to show that these were read by the accused. The accused did speak about these corrections in his testimony, confirmed that in these parts there are corrections in his handwriting and in parts before and after, but such general confirmation cannot be confirmed to a close examination. The comments made by the accused to the parts read to him and put before him. And this the court can achieve only if the court regards the hand the accused had in the passages themselves. That is why I believe that in order to weigh the credibility of what was said in those passages, and in order to be convinced that these were the words said by the accused, it is important that the court see before its eyes the handwriting, the corrections made by the accused. This will not add much. The passages were read into the court record, and the court heard those passages. But from the aspect to check if the accused had any control in connection with those passages before there was any intention of confirming them or denying, it is of utmost importance that the court regard and see what did the accused do and how he handled those passages. President of Court, in order to make this request clear, I can imagine a request to submit passages for one of two purposes, one of the two. What you request, sir, is to submit them in evidence on behalf of the prosecution at this stage of proceedings. This is what it seems to me. The other possibility is to have them submitted in order to understand the accused's testimony. The accused said it is more or less correct, not verbally. That is a visual argumentation, and the corrections may be important in this connection. I understand your request, sir, that you choose the first possibility, Mr. Hausner, as well as the second possibility. President of Court, the first is very extreme. Mr. Hausner, in the alternative, may I put my request? The main request is the first possibility. The alternative request is the second possibility. President of Court, because the first request, I myself see a formal obstacle at this stage of proceedings. We are now dealing with the defense. This is most unusual, that now new evidence be brought to court by the prosecution without any connection with the accused's testimony. Mr. Hausner, had the accused not testified and commented in regard to those passages, I could not have put my request to the court. But the accused did not deny the passages on principle. He said, this is correct, more or less, this is the spirit of the things, the corrections were made by me. It is important that the court see with its own eyes what are the corrections in those passages, so that the court can weigh and decide if the accused just inserted a few of jottings or corrected actually in so many lines. President of Court, you argue and maintain that this you can do at this stage of the proceedings. Mr. Hausner, yes, because I could not do so before. The court objected to the submission of these pages. Now, I have put the matter before the accused. He did not deny that the passages contain his words and they contain his comments. I want the court to see how far the corrections are included, and the court then may be convinced how much attention the accused gave to the passages and then weigh their probative value. President of Court, Dr. Savatius, yes. What have you to say in connection with this request?
Dieses Beweismittel ist wohl unzulässig, wenn es hier als Dokument nachträglich eingeführt werden soll. Dieser Antrag kommt zu spät. Wenn nun jetzt ein Teil eingereicht werden soll, einzelne Blätter, so wird das aus dem ganzen Zusammenhang herausgerissen, nicht bezüglich des Inhalts, sondern auch bezüglich der Korrekturen. Der Angeklagte hat wiederholt betont, es sind große Partien, die ich teils überhaupt nicht gesehen habe, und diese Teile stammen auch nicht von mir. Man muss also dann müsste man schon sämtliche 17 Bände haben und nun feststellen, wie weit ist die Korrektur gegangen. Welche eingehenden Korrekturen als Korrekturfahnen hat er angefertigt? Denn wenn man sich einen Eindruck verschaffen will, welches die Art der Korrektur ist, dann muss man gerade diese Korrekturfahnen ja doch sehr sorgfältig lesen. Man sieht ja schon, dass an dem letzten Band, der von ihm selbst geschrieben ist, derartige Übertreibungen nicht vorhanden sind, wie sie hier im Text erscheinen. Wenn der Angeklagte sagt, der Ankläger sagt, der Angeklagte hätte nicht bestritten, dass das von ihm ist. Er hat es wohl bestritten, er hat es nur in einer höflicheren und vorsichtigeren Form gemacht und gesagt, ich kann mich nicht festlegen, es mag sein, es mag nicht sein. Und wir haben schon gehört, er stand unter Alkohol, man hat ihn provoziert, Dinge zu sagen. Das kann man jetzt nicht hier auf diese Weise einbringen und das umgehen, was eigentlich nötig gewesen wäre, nämlich den Zeugen Sassenge hinzubringen. Das war der beste Beweis, das ist die Golden Rule, davon hätte die Anklage Gebrauch machen sollen. Warum das nicht geschehen ist, ist mir unverständlich, es wird wohl seine Gründe haben. Ich beantrage also, den Antrag abzulehnen.
This evidence is not admissible, in my opinion, as a document. If it were to be submitted here as a document, then it would be certainly too late to do so. But if only a part thereof were to be submitted, that means to say, if we only tore one piece of the whole context, not only with regard to the contents, but also with regard to the corrections, it would be of no avail. The accused said there are considerable portions of the document which he hadn't even seen, and some portions of the document which had not all been his statement. Therefore, it would be necessary to submit 17 volumes in order to see how far and to what extent those documents had been corrected. If the proofs were to be submitted in order to give the impression as to what kind of corrections the accused had made, then it would be necessary to read all the proofs. Otherwise, just one isolated part of it would have no importance whatsoever. One could see how many exaggerations had crept into the transcript. That was quite clearly shown. The Attorney General contends that the accused had not denied the contents of the transcript. Of course, he did deny. He only denied the statement in a polite form. He said perhaps, maybe it was the case, maybe it wasn't. He also referred to the influence of intoxicating drinks but he certainly did deny the statement as such. It is impossible to submit this evidence at this stage. Another course of action should have been taken, namely that Zassen should have been called here as a witness. This would be the golden rule to be adopted. Why the prosecution hadn't resorted to that course of action, I really do not know. They probably had some ulterior motives not to call Zassen as a witness. Therefore, I should like to ask to reject the admission of this document.
I believe that at a former stage it became clear that the proofs in your hands were submitted to court, all of them, and this is some quarter or a third of all the proofs, what is called by the accused Korrekturfahnen, flags for corrections. According to number, a third or a quarter were already submitted. Mr. Hausner, there were some 200 as far as I remember. There are remarks and corrections, sometimes long and sometimes even longer than the matter in the text itself, Judge Halevi. Except the marking by numbers, this is the only hint to the corrections. Mr. Hausner, all we brought to court and gave a copy to the defense. We have nothing more. President of Court, it will be convenient to adjourn now, and the session will be renewed at 3:30 and endeavor to come to a decision in regard to this request. Then the re-examination will begin. We adjourn until 3:30.
Bring the witness. Right, you bring him.